Hey everyone, I'm here in Washington, D.C. again, fighting for your rights to try to get some markets.
All right, everyone, let's talk about something huge that's happening right now in 2025. Crypto regulation is finally becoming a reality. And honestly, it's about time. Here's what's really exciting. We're not just getting any old regulations thrown at us. We're getting clear regulations that actually make sense. You know what that means? The entire crypto space is about to get the clarity it's been desperately waiting for. So what changed? Well, when the new administration stepped into office, something incredible happened. Crypto got moved to center stage. But here's the kicker. They're approaching regulation in a way that actually supports innovation instead of crushing it. Companies like Ripple, they're finally getting the green light to expand and reach their full potential. Let me share something interesting with you. Back in August, we got this article from Atkins talking about how the SEC is now focusing on clear crypto regulations, especially after the Ripple case. And get this, Commissioner Pierce said something that really stuck with me. With this chapter closed, we now have an opportunity to shift our energy from the courtroom to the policy drafting table. Whew, that's powerful stuff right there. They're talking about building a regulatory framework that actually fosters innovation while still protecting investors. This is what we've all been waiting for. Now here's what really gets me fired up about this whole situation. Companies like Ripple, they've been playing the long game for years. I'm talking years and years of focusing on public policy, always trying to stay compliant, always wanting to work with regulators. They were ahead of the curve when most people didn't even know what crypto was. But here's where it gets frustrating. And if you've been in this space for a while, you'll remember this. If you're newer to crypto, buckle up because this story is wild.
Picture this. It's 2020 or earlier. Getting a meeting with the SEC? Not that hard, actually. Companies like Ripple would walk into these meetings, ready to collaborate, ready to follow the rules. But here's the problem. They'd walk out with absolutely nothing. Zero guidance, zero clarity. The SEC wouldn't tell them how to be compliant because, get ready for this, there weren't even proper regulations in place. And then, this is the part that makes my blood boil, the SEC would take all that information these companies shared in good faith and turn it into a weapon against them. It was like dealing with the mob. They'd use your own words against you, bully you around, and then say, hey, if you want to keep operating, pay us this massive fine. That's how broken the system was before 2025. Can you believe that? But here's the beautiful part. Everything has changed now. Ripple, who's been trying to work with the SEC this entire time, can finally see their efforts pay off. The collaboration they always wanted, it's becoming reality. Now, let me tell you what I'm most excited about. The framework for a market structure bill. This isn't just some minor update, folks. This is the game changer we've all been waiting for. We're talking about full, crystal clear clarity for the entire crypto space. Think about what this unlocks. Enterprise-grade adoption, institutional-grade adoption, and ultimately, mass retail adoption. This is literally the roadmap to mainstream crypto adoption. We need this framework in place. And finally, we're getting it. This is how we get to that future we've all been dreaming about. The pieces are falling into place, and 2025 is shaping up to be the year everything changes for crypto. Now, let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. What exactly does this market structure legislation do?
And more importantly, why do we desperately need it? Here's something that might blow your mind. The US financial markets, they're literally recognized as the most robust, transparent, and efficient markets on the entire planet. For decades, they've been the engine driving economic growth, innovation, and wealth creation for Americans. Pretty impressive, right? But here's the secret sauce. It's all because of one thing: a solid regulatory framework. The principle is beautifully simple. The nature of an activity determines the rules that apply. This approach has carried us through massive technological shifts, from electronic trading to complex derivatives. Without that framework, we wouldn't have the incredible growth we see in these markets today. So when we talk about market structure legislation for crypto, this is the golden key. We're talking about unlocking trillions, and I mean trillions with a capital T of dollars that could flow into the crypto space and get tokenized. Public blockchains will finally see the mass adoption we've all been waiting for. But here's the catch. We don't get there without proper legislation. It's that simple. Let me break down what this market structure bill actually does, because this stuff is game-changing. First up, it closes regulatory gaps. No more confusion, no more gray areas. Second, it creates crystal clear clarity for digital asset businesses and consumers. Everyone knows where they stand. Third, it brings digital asset platforms into the existing regulatory framework. No more operating in limbo. Fourth, it addresses both the incredible opportunities and the risks that come with digital assets. But wait, there's more. This bill will promote efficient markets, give clear and predictable rules to everyone involved, address risks with appropriate regulation, protect financial privacy while keeping the bad guys out,
and protect investors and consumers with proper oversight and enforcement against fraud and corruption. I mean, come on, this is exactly why we're so laser focused on this legislation. Now, here's the question everyone's asking. Do we have any updates on when this is actually happening? Well, buckle up, because by the end of this video, you're going to know we actually have a timeline now. Check this out. Back on September 8th, the Financial Services GOP dropped this gem. The Clarity Act provides the necessary tools to establish a federal framework for digital asset market structure. It's critical the Senate passes this bill to ensure the U.S. remains a leader in digital finance. And Tom Emmer, he wasn't holding back either. On September 7th, he posted a reminder that got quoted by Financial Services GOP. The Senate must finish the job on America's pro-crypto future and pass the Clarity Act. But here's where it gets really exciting. Monica Long just had a major meeting, and what she said gives me chills in the best way possible. She said, "Blockchain is a financial revolution, but has far from reached its potential, assimilating into existing infrastructure, mostly held back by legal uncertainty in the largest economy in the world." But then, and this is the part that gets me pumped up, she said, "The good news is this is all rapidly changing. First, the Genius Act, then Clarity, and now the Responsible Financial Innovation Act taking shape in the Senate." Guys, this is incredible. She's talking about the outreach from lawmakers to our industry, actually listening to practical applications with a real commitment to write laws that protect consumers, foster innovation, and adapt over time. This is what progress looks like. And get this, she tagged everyone involved in today's roundtable in DC. That's right, she was actually there, in the room where it's all happening. She wrapped up by saying, "We look forward to seeing crypto market structure written into law with bipartisan support that will set the stage for U.S. leadership in this blockchain revolution." Now, Charles Hoskinson dropped some serious intel too. He said, "Great meeting today. XRP Nation, the Ripple folks did really well, as did A16Z. A lot more work to do, but great progress is being made on bipartisan legislation being passed this year." Did you catch that? This year? We're talking about real timelines here, people. But wait, it gets even better. Eleanor Tourette gave us the inside scoop on exactly who was in that room. Following up on the banking GOP roundtable that happened that morning, she revealed it wasn't just Charles Hoskinson, Ripple, and A16Z. Representatives from Kraken, Coinbase, Multicoin, Paradigm, and Circle were all there too. And here's what blew me away. This meeting lasted an hour and a half, and they were focused on one thing: refining the actual language in the market structure draft. They're not just talking theory here, they're writing the actual words that will become law.
This is exactly why this legislation is so game-changing. You know what the biggest problem with the SEC was? They refused to listen to anyone from the crypto industry. They were trying to jam traditional financial laws onto crypto, thinking it would somehow work. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But look at what's happening now. It's a completely different world. We've got the biggest players in crypto: Ripple, A16Z, Kraken, Coinbase, Multicoin, Paradigm, Circle, Cardano, all sitting at the table for over an hour, actually helping to refine the language in this bill. This means the people who understand crypto best are making sure innovation can thrive.
They're ensuring we don't get held back by terrible bill structures like we've seen before. Remember all those crypto bills in the past that had hidden language designed to kill entire sectors, like when they tried to destroy DeFi back in 2023? For years, we've all been terrified that crypto would get shadow-regulated into oblivion, but seeing actual crypto industry players at the table giving input, that's a very good sign, my friends. And Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, he was right there in the thick of it. He posted, I was in DC the last few days working to get market structure legislation passed for crypto. This is how we ensure the crypto industry can be built here in America, driving innovation and protecting consumers and making sure we never have another Gary Gensler trying to take it right. He went on to say there's strong bipartisan support, but, and this is important, we need your help to get it done. You can actually help by signing up at Stand With Crypto. They'll notify you when it's time to contact your representatives and make your voice heard.
Hey everyone, I'm here in Washington, D.C. again, fighting for your rights to try to get some market structure legislation passed for crypto. This would be foundational, just like we did for stablecoins a few months ago with the Genius Act. Market structure legislation protects all the other non-stablecoin crypto assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. The Senate is strongly supportive of getting this done. The members that I met with on both sides of the aisle are ready to get this legislation passed, and there's draft text now being exchanged back and forth and with the industry for comment, which is great. We saw a lot of alignment today. Now, of course, this hasn't stopped the big banks from trying to throw a wrench into things, and they're trying to ban rewards on stablecoins. The members of the Senate who I spoke to, they're not going to let that happen. That was already litigated and decided in the Genius Act for stablecoins. They're not going to bring it up again. But barring these little details here and there, I think this thing has a good chance of getting done. I've actually never been more bullish on market structure getting passed. It's a freight train leaving the station. So we're going to keep showing up and fighting for your rights. You can do a lot to help by going to standwithcrypto.org and contacting your representatives. Let them know that you want to see market structure legislation passed for crypto. Thanks.
Here's the bottom line. All of these industry leaders are confident this is getting passed soon. And just like Brian said, this is a freight train leaving the station. Because it really is. We're looking at one of the biggest moments in crypto history, and it's happening right now in 2025. The stars are aligning, the industry is unified, and the lawmakers are finally listening. This is it, everyone. This is our moment. And speaking of moments, Meghan just dropped an absolute bombshell over at CNBC about the push for crypto legislation. Are you ready for this? We now have the actual timeframe right in front of us. October to November. That's right. By the end of this year, we should have market structure legislation signed into law.
Financial Services Committee Chairman French Hill is calling for crypto market structure legislation to be passed into law before the U.S. loses ground to Latin America and Europe. Chairman Hill joins us this morning. Mr. Chairman, it's good to see you. And I would ask you, what are you asking for? But all you got to say is you're asking for what's in that bill that the Senate is sitting on, right? There's a bill ready to go that would accomplish what you're asking for.
You bet, Joe. Good morning. Great to be with you. Happy 30th anniversary to the Squawk.
Thank you.
Glad to be on. Exactly right. We passed in the House in July the Clarity Act, which got 78 Democratic votes, meaning we had a strong bipartisan vote over the suspension of vote level in the House, meaning more than 290 members came together to vote for the Clarity Act, which is that market framework which will make America the most competitive digital asset nation in the world. when you combine it with the Genius Act that President Trump signed into law in July, which is the dollar-backed payment stablecoin legislation.
And you are somewhat gratified with what the Trump administration has done. There's been some progress, obviously, with the Genius Act, but what I didn't realize was how more advanced, is that the right word, for crypto use in the economy is in South America, and maybe even in Europe, in terms of legislation, where we're definitely ahead with liquidity, and we've had some good IPOs, but we're lagging without this structure in place.
That's right. We can't be competitive and lead the nation in fintech if we don't have this market framework. I told President Trump back in July that if you sign the Genius Act and you pass it, it's like passing a bill that authorizes the use of a cell phone, but you have no cell towers. You don't have the rules for custody, for dealing, for exchanging, for serving as a trader, for how you're going to actually operate a blockchain network inside the financial services industry. So we need both. They're both essential. And as you point out, the Senate is now considering the Clarity Act under Tim Scott's leadership in the Banking Committee and John Boozman's leadership in the Senate Ag Committee. And we hope that they will take prompt action on that this fall during the October and November timeframe. I'd love to see the Clarity Act pass the Senate before the end of the year.
Why is it? What's the problem? Who would bring it up and vote? Is that John Thune, Senator Thune, or what? Why? I don't understand why Republicans can't do this if they have a majority.
Well, it's being worked on. Kirsten Gillibrand in New York and Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming. Cynthia is the chair of the Subcommittee on Digital Assets, FinTech in the Senate. It's been referred to her committee. They've had a hearing. She has her own legislative ideas that are being discussed with both Republicans and Democrats in the Senate. So I do expect them to mark that bill up in the coming weeks. And I hope they'll use the Clarity Act that got 78 votes from Democrats in the House as their base text for passing their own bill.
Listen, I can barely contain my excitement here. The time frame we're looking at is somewhere around October into November to get this thing fully drafted up, and then it should start gaining serious momentum and traction. You know what's incredible? This is following the exact same playbook as the Genius Act. Remember how that went down? We started seeing these heavy discussions heating up, we got a time frame, things started moving faster than anyone expected, and boom! Official approval came way quicker than anyone was betting on. We thought it would be end of summer, but it happened much sooner. Now, I'll be honest with you. This market structure bill is probably going to take a little more time, simply because it's not focused on just one specific category like stablecoins. It's the whole enchilada. So here's my realistic timeline. I think we'll have this fully drafted by the end of October going into November. Then you've got to factor in the holidays, November, December. But my best guess, give or take end of November, maybe first half of December, we should see this thing fully passed through Congress. That means crypto could be fully regulated by the end of this year. That's my prediction. And honestly, we're seeing so much momentum around this that I'm feeling pretty confident about it. But here's what I really want you to understand. This is going to be the big moment.
This is that massive obstacle that finally gets removed from crypto's path. And once it's gone, there's literally nothing in front of us anymore. Nothing slowing crypto down, nothing holding us back. So here's what I need you to do. Once we get this crypto legislation signed into law, and I really believe we will, you need to prepare. Prepare for significant adoption. Prepare for significant growth. We're going to start seeing utility become the main focus instead of speculation. This is how we get to that crypto future we've all been dreaming about. This is the moment everything changes. All right, everyone. I hope you absolutely loved this breakdown. If this got you as pumped up as I am about crypto's future, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and definitely turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of these crucial updates. The crypto revolution is happening right now, and you don't want to miss a second of it.